1, 2, 3, funk it.
My darling, I love you, 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 I love you.
3, 2, 1. And it's Friday night, and I just got paid.
Backstreet's better.
Okay, Backstreet. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
Best boy band.
So for the people who are listening, you can chime in with your own feelings about that. There are a lot of boy bands. Fortunately, Kangsan and I grew up in the great era of the 90s.
Greatest.
I'm sorry, my bad. Greatest era. Okay?
Yeah. What was a boy band before then? Like,
a Nucleus on the Block
sure.
and KOTB.
Okay.
Okay, I can't even, because boy bands before that are considered rock bands.
What were boy band? Queen.
Styx,
The Beatles.
Journey, the Beatles. Yeah, look, we grew up during the 90s. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Good Times with the Boys. It is Friday, December 14th. Happy Friday, Kangsan.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you and yours. And this is one of those episodes, man. It's what do I say, Kangsan?
You say a lot of things. I don't know.
It's gonna be a good one.
Oh, it's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Back in full effect, Boy 1 and 2, Kangsan and Germund, here to infiltrate your minds, to give you guys some things to think about. And we're not rappers, but we do have bars.
Facts.
Okay, and that's what we're gonna do today, Kangsan.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest. It's gonna be a little bit of a venting session.
Whoa, off the chesticles, baby.
I've been spending this month of December to kind of break down just, I guess, my life, to get a little bit more vulnerable. This is going to be sort of a thing, but I'm an open and honest guy, and I don't really feel embarrassed or ashamed to talk about much that's going on in my life.
As you shouldn't.
So I'm spending December to kind of figure out how I'm prioritizing my life, how things are working for me, because I am not where I want to be. I am not where I thought I was going to be. And a lot of it has to do with false things that society puts up for us, false ideas, high expectations that is not practical. But this all sort of stems from the pressure of I'm putting on myself. And I don't know if German is also doing that, of approaching 30.
Yikes.
You know, it's the age we used to think was very old. Now we're there.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a little bit of that. And also something happened yesterday.
Ooh.
I thought I had a clean day of eating. I had lemonade for lunch. I had a light dinner. It was a salad. I had, I think it was a salad. I had a small breakfast. I weighed myself.
Kangsan, did you shit your pants?
No. I weighed myself, and it was the heaviest I was since high school. The scale read 209. Now, it threw me off.
What?
Yeah, it was weird. It threw me off. And because it was the heaviest I was since high school, it brought me back to the same emotions in high school, and it kind of put me in a place of just being really depressed, because that's how I was in high school. And it kind of, those two things combined, like I'm like, damn, I'm about to be 30, I gotta get my shit together. And then also like, damn, I'm back. It felt like I was back at square one. So those two things came together, and it kind of culminated yesterday into some thoughts that I had to get off my chest today. But I have been spending some time really analyzing what's going on with my life, because I'm of the belief, if you want your output in your life to change, you have to change your input.
Fact.
You cannot wish things are going to change and you feel you're doing the right things. If you're not happy with where you are in life, you're obviously not doing something right, or you're not doing it to the best of your ability, one or the other, or both.
You know what the definition of insanity is?
Kanye West. Wait.
Oh, come on, Kangsan. That's to come way later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I want to share this in hopes of it reaching to somebody that's listening. Maybe you guys are going through the same thing. Maybe you're going through something different, and maybe you have advice for me. So right now, it's just a lot of that. And I've taken a break from like social media where I would normally try to post things every day, and I'm trying to lessen that and figure things out. And I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, but this is the year that I'm kind of bookmarking 2019 as sort of, okay, you have X number of months until you're 30. This is the last leg of this race. Before you begin the next chapter, these are the things you have to get in order. So I've been writing goals down. I'm trying to set this mentality, and I've learned that what you say, what you do, though you may feel is not significant, has sort of a snowball effect that down the road kind of touches like a ripple or a butterfly effect.
Small steps.
Yeah.
Preliminary steps.
And so a lot of it has to do with myself. I used to be kind of the guy that was like, man, fuck that guy, fuck this girl, whatever, like blame other people for things that happen in my life. But with age comes wisdom, and with wisdom you realize the more you blame other people, the less control you have over that scenario. So I want to be able to make things my fault and find ways, because that kind of assigns the control back to me. Now I can do something about it that can effectively change the outcome of the scenario. So I want to talk about that real quick. A few of those things is the pressure on myself. I'm an only child. My parents and I, we come from a previous generation type of culture. This is a little bit more old school.
Traditional.
So it isn't the so like happy-go-lucky kind of scenario, which I'm sure a lot of people my age or even younger have experienced. And it's just your stereotypical Asian American household. So there are certain expectations. And when you're bred a certain way, that's just how you think. I expect the best of myself at all times. Now, when you cross the line, it becomes like unrealistic to the point where it creates stress in your life that you don't need. It creates negativity in your life, as German says, that you don't need in your life.
It's a fact.
So you have to, it's a fine line that you have to balance. Like you want to push yourself enough to do better every day, but you don't want to push yourself so much that you burn out. You know, it's like, it's akin to Paul Walker pressing the Nas a little too fast, or actually not. It was Paul Walker, but also
that froey haired dude against Michelle Rodriguez too soon.
Him
or Johnny Tran
or John, too soon Junior. Mm-hmm. You don't want to do that. So I've been thinking a lot about that. Something that I did have to work on, and German can attest to this too, was we allude to it a lot, but I did have a short temper, and it was much shorter than it is now. And a lot of it wasn't necessarily like I get angry, but it was coming from a place of, if I can do it, I know other people can do it, and why aren't you doing it now? But not everybody's wired that way, and also not every scenario calls for that type of action. Mm-hmm. So I had to, it even got to a point where, you know, German and Max and the guys had to be like, yo, like, I get that's how you work, but that's not how we work, and this is not the place or the time for that right now. So, you know, that's something that I kind of harken back to a lot when I feel antsy in certain scenarios where I feel like we should be going a lot faster. We should be either, finishing a project at work faster. We should be going along through this event faster, anything, where I'm just like, is it me? Or, you know, you have to ask yourself, be willing to ask yourself those questions. Is it me, or is it the scenario? And oftentimes you'll realize that, at least for me, that it's just me kind of pushing things on a little too fast. So that's definitely something I want to work on as I age. Another thing is that ties to that is displacement. So it's the displacement of your emotions where you react a certain way, but maybe it isn't that situation that gets you upset. It was something before, but you held it in, and then this other event was the one that kind of blew the lid. And I think if there is one thing that I'm proud of being able to separate my emotion with the actual situation, the objectivity of the case. It's like asking yourself, am I genuinely feeling emotions in this scenario, or is it an idea of something that happened that I'm just displacing my emotions onto? Which is similar to weighing myself. It's like, am I really upset that I am heavy as I was in high school, or are these emotions just what I felt in high school? Is it bringing me back? And things like that have kind of crept in my mind, and it comes and goes, and it's easier to deal with it as time goes along, because you get used to it, I would say.
I mean, I can attest for this. Okay, I've known Kangsan for quite a bit of time now. I've known him. I wouldn't say even at his worst or at his best, because I obviously think Kangsan and myself and everyone in the group can do better and be the best of themselves. I've seen him at the best of himself. Okay, and although he alludes to this weight where he's at, a lot of, or maybe the people who are listening have known Kangsan since high school. But for those of you who don't know, although Kangsan might be the same weight, and if that's what he's basing it off of, you would never think that.
Oh, it's not the same body.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure, it's not the same body.
So Kangsan always in my mind is always kind of like this chiseled. I've said it so many times in this podcast, many episodes. A horse, kind of like an Adonis, kind of looking guy. And yeah, he's a little pudgy now. I will say that.
Yeah, I got a fanny pack.
Kangsan has a fanny pack. I have a flat tire, and I'm not even talking about the beer. But it's a constant struggle. But what I will say is, because to the token of Kangsan being so steadfast on whether it be his ideals or because of how you're so traditional and how you think, that now you can fast forward your life 10 years from when it was before, where you were feeling those emotions.
Yeah.
But you can actually take away a silver lining from that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because of how you conducted yourself through that time.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just letting you know there's a silver lining to that. Okay.
No, that's a perfect answer. It's as soon as I felt myself feeling the same things I felt in high school, it's that thing of like, okay, so it really isn't the fact that I weigh what I weigh now. It's the fact of what that represents. That number is a number to everybody else except for me. And that is something I have to take into consideration and have to acknowledge. And it's weird. Like when you in that mode, for me, you have to, well, generally speaking, you have to find out what works for you. So for me, what works is when I feel that emotion, when I get that type of depression, once I acknowledge that it's an idea of something that's happened in the past and it really isn't representative of what happens now, I don't force myself out of that state of mind, but I keep reminding myself that that's what it is, and that's what takes me out of it. So instead of saying like, oh, it's not A, it's B. Okay, I'm over it. It doesn't happen like that. I just have to constantly remind myself until I get out of it. And then the moment I forget to remind myself is the moment I realize that I'm out of that state of mind.
But it's weird because if you were to look at it like that, it's almost analogous to maybe like a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Where you feel like what you should be doing, and you're improving yourself, and you're at one point, and then you say, "Oh, well, maybe I like to feel something else," and it's a roller coaster, right? But it's, in order to remediate that, is a life balance and balancing life, right? I think, to be honest, although again you feel like you're at a low point in your life, the variations that you've made, if you look at it in hindsight, are more balanced than other people's, right? Definitely considering myself, you know what I mean? There was a point in time, boys and girls, okay, you don't know this, I was more fit than Kangsan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Way more fit than Kangsan, and then Kangsan just outlasted me, just because Kangsan has that mental fortitude. But yeah, man, maybe it's just, dude, maybe it's just it's cyclical. But maybe your next goal is to make this cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
The philosophy of it all is that life pulls you in opposing directions at all times, and you just have to understand where to draw the line. That's the tricky part, because the downside is I'm in this place that is considered a low if you're kind of looking at the grand scale of things in the short term.
In your terms.
But at the same time, because I've known I can overcome it before, I've done it before, I can do it again. And now I have, years of more knowledge on top of it. So then it means I can do it better, more efficiently, and all this other stuff. And I enjoy that challenge. So it has these two things, and it's very hard to process sometimes because you feel like opposing answers cannot exist in the same world. You're trying to figure out it's either A or B. It cannot be both. But I feel like life is, like we said, I think in the first episode, life is the gray. Life is both A and B. You can feel sad, but also be excited about it at the same time, which is something that I've worked on over the years and continue to work on. Like I get sad. I get depressed every so often.
I get depressed every day.
The challenge is when I get out of it, how long can I make it last before I get depressed again? And when I'm in it, I'm not the type of person that's like, I gotta get out of this depression. It's just, I need to know what it feels like. I need to know why I feel it. I need to be in the eye of the storm and be like, okay, let's just figure this shit out. And I don't know. I think that's just how I'm wired. I'm definitely not recommending it for everybody. Some people maybe work better if they're like, I need to get the fuck out now. Some people work like me where it's just like, okay, let me just figure things out while I'm here. I need to figure out how things are. So when it comes back, I know how to approach it.
Have you ever felt the opposite of that?
Like utter joy and ecstasy?
Right. So right now it's you'll probably say that you are living your life not as, I don't want to say sad or depressed or anything like that, although those are real. But let's just say like lower than your expectations.
Yeah.
Right? So you're living your life right now lower than expectations, knowing that you can. And then when you find that curve to go over, it gives you the inspiration to go above that.
Yeah.
But have you ever lived the opposite of that, where you are on the high for so long and you're so desensitized to it, you're almost looking for a low? Or when a low comes, you don't even know what that low means.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're blinded. You're blinded by how high you are.
When I got my first salary job, and when I first moved out to this apartment,
okay,
I was like, this is it. Like from here, it's only going to go up. And for a while it did. Like it kind of got better.
Right.
I had kept meeting new people at work. I was kind of building a name for myself in a sense. Senior management, everybody knew me by my first name. No one was calling me Kim. No one thought I was a girl.
Female.
Yeah. So, it felt really high. And even if it was tiny low, like I had a stressful day at work, the next day I'm like, I'm back at it again. So I never knew what a low was until it ended. Then a low happened, and then it didn't go back up high as I thought it would. And I'm like, damn, that was really high. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
It's kind of like when you hike a trail and you turn around and you're like, I did not know it was this far.
Ignorance is bliss, almost.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've lived it before. I think for me, though, I'm more motivated by the fear of failure than the joy of success. Mm-hmm. So it's a little different for me. Like the reason I'm naturally optimistic and the reason why I push myself so hard is I don't want to get so depressed that I can't get out. I don't want to get so low that I can't climb back out. So I'm more driven by the fear of failure than the joys of success. Like if something really good happens to me, it's like, I don't know. I think it's just the era we come from or the time we come from, but it's just spend the night, have fun. Then the next day, it's like you got to get back to work because the moment you relax is the moment the low starts to happen. Mm-hmm. I think it's relative to sort of our generation's society at the time, whether it's in sports or music or our parents or whatever. A lot of people had that mindset where it's like, all right, like you can celebrate for one night, but if you celebrate too much, people are going to put you in your place.
Yeah.
Things are different now. I think people are celebrated more often, maybe not as high, but they're celebrated more consistently throughout a longer period. So, it just depends. No one place is better nor worse. And with that being said, I think a lot of things that contributed to my behavior was unsaid expectations. Now, I've known German, Andrew, Max, Richard for over half my life. I've known my parents my whole life. And it's safe to say, in the grand scheme of things, one would assume, or one can naturally be okay with having expectations across the board. Like, I would have certain expectations for German. German would have certain expectations for me, with my parents, etc., etc. You know somebody so long, you can demand more of that person because they know you. What was happening with me was a lot of expectations that wasn't being communicated, meaning I did something that in my mind, in my eyes, was out of the norm that I normally wouldn't do for somebody. So then I expected either acknowledgement or reciprocation. But the trouble is, when you don't communicate it, even if it's a friend of 14 years or your parents, they're not going to know everything. They can do their best to guess, but they're thinking through their lens. They're not thinking through my lens, right? That's what makes everybody so unique. So that was adding to a lot of the stresses that was going on of just life in general.
I mean, a lot of that theory too is like the unsung hero.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's an unsung hero, and there's a reason why there's a definition of an unsung hero.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to tout myself as, although I don't want recognition, it's almost to the point where I want recognition for the principle of it. Right?
Dude, I'm the same way.
So I get it when Kangsan says that, and so I try my best when my friends, my family, and all that stuff do something not even outlandish, but even like the smallest of things, that I'm very appreciative of it, because you don't know, and this is a life lesson. You don't know how much something means to somebody.
Yep.
Although it means very minuscule to you, for them you don't know what they went through.
Yeah.
Right. And this is why, and obviously people, you don't have to follow my word, but I don't believe in certain types of karma. I try not to believe in karma, is because I feel like you should just do the best that you're supposed to be doing for your given scenario situation. Mm-hmm. Because the way people are talking about karma nowadays is, oh, don't do that, you'll get bad karma. Or do that, you'll get good karma.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. You don't do stuff for bad karma or good karma.
Yeah.
You do it because it's good.
So, yeah, it's something I definitely want to work on, is the expectation portion of it. And it's the idea of having zero expectations. Not necessarily saying I don't think German should do anything, but it's just, to German's point, if I do something for German, it shouldn't be because I want German to do something for me.
Right.
It should be because that's the right thing to do, or that's what I want to do at the time, or whatever the case may be. So that's something that I've definitely highlighted and realized that as a goal of mine to really work on. And because that drives a lot of stress for me, that drives a lot of concern. And when you say it out loud, when you write it down, or whatever, when you reflect it in whatever method you want to reflect it, it sounds like you're a dick. Like, I sound like a dick when I say, I do these things for you, why don't you do it for me? And then it's like, well, how would they know that you want that done if you don't tell them that that's the way you want it done?
But in a sense, you're not a dick. You know what I mean?
No, I hope not, but I'm a Hufflepuff. I hate that, but
you're a fucking asshole.
Dude, I tested the thing for Harry Potter, and I haven't watched any Harry Potter, but it says I'm a Hufflepuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
What the fuck is a Hufflepuff?
And then like the description is like, Slytherins, the bad boys. Fucking the other two places are
the Harry Potters.
They're like the
gold.
Yeah, they're like the charming and the smart. But you want a nice guy? You go get you a Hufflepuff. And I'm like, wait a minute.
That's so good.
Wait a minute.
That's so apropos, bro.
What the fuck? Oh man, I thought I was gonna be like some badass, and I'm like, not only am I considered or testing as a nice guy, They named the school for the nice guy Hufflepuff. What does Hufflepuff remind you of?
A puff cream.
Exactly.
What do you call those things? Cream puffs.
Yeah.
My bad.
Like
Cream
a
puffs,
like a
cream puffs.
fluffy thing of dough and
Soft.
sugar inside
Soft.
and
I'll let you guys know Kangsan is soft. But
no resistance.
It's
And I'm
funny.
like, God damn it, man.
Cream puff.
Anyway, yeah, it's not a matter of whether I am a dick. It's just when you say it out loud, you recognize the absurdity of the situation. So a lot of this venting session is in hopes of maybe helping other people see what's going on with their life. B, maybe people have some tips for me. And C, I want this to go down historically, like record it and then look back and see where we've come or how far we've come along. Credit's huge. Credit's also huge for me too. I'm very big on that, and I don't know why. It's so hard to explain because
No, Kangsan. It's very easy to explain.
one side of it is the side I'm thinking of it now is, hey, everyone here knows I'm the one that did it, but everyone's making out to seem it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I want everybody to at least acknowledge why. The other side is if you know you did it and the truth is that you did it, the truth will always win in the long term. Nobody needs to provide that closure other than yourself. And that's the constant battle that I have is we're trying to do something. We're trying to have an event. We have a competition or whatever. And I know, like, it's just like this feeling that, this conviction that I did something positive and yet no one's recognizing it. And I'm like looking around, like everyone's talking about other things. And I'm like, yeah, but and you don't want to be that guy that's like, hey, but yeah, did you see the good thing that I did?
Right.
So it's like it goes back to the expectation. Like if you don't tell people, I kind of would like it if you would acknowledge at least what I did. You say it out loud and it's like it sounds outlandish.
It's weird because you don't want to be the proponent of everyone gets a.
I hate that. Everyone gets a participation. I fucking hate that. If you suck, you suck.
You suck. You don't deserve anything.
Yo, it's okay to suck, but you should know you suck.
It's not okay to suck.
Well, I'm saying like
if you tried your best,
the world's not ending.
Okay.
If you suck, it just means you're just gonna have to get better.
But I appreciate you for trying. Okay, although you suck.
Yeah, I'll tell a story. First game of organized basketball I ever played. I was 9 years old. After the game, the first thing my dad says, "Yeah, you're not ever gonna make it to the NBA," and just killed my hopes and dreams.
Okay.
But he said, "But whatever it is in basketball, just don't give up." And in 8th grade, I was on the bench. I was the last guy. I would only make it to games if they're up by 20. I wore fucking the rec specs like Kurt Rambis. Yo, I was
Kurt Rambis though.
I was legit the guy on the I was literally the last guy for everything. Meaning, I even had the jersey with the really wide shoulders.
Yeah.
That kind of stuck out like Dragon Ball Z shoulder pads.
Like you got a
Because that was the only jersey that was left. You know what I mean? I was that guy. And then, but at the end of 8th grade, my dad was just saying like, listen, like you didn't play well. You didn't play much, but you didn't give up. And that's going to pay off someday. And, I'm like, yeah, dad, whatever. I'm 13. I'm like, it's just dad, you're saying dad stuff.
Yeah.
And then Cams comes along. We don't have basketball until our junior year. And
now Kangsan is the Kurt Rambis.
and then junior year is whatever, junior year. But before the first game, our coach at the time comes by and says, "Hey, you're the starting point guard." And I was like, I've never played point guard in my life, let alone start. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Well, I don't have much options."
So, I got 3 other people.
So you're going to start. And, like the first game, the jump circle. So the centers typically are jumping, and then the forwards are on either side of the square. The wings are on the sides, and the point guards are like at their respective basket or whatever, right? I do that, and I look up to see my dad, and my dad looks at me like, "Where the fuck are you going?"
Why? Why are you there?
Jump ball. We win the tip. They pass me the ball. I look at the coach. The coach calls a play. I run a play. And my dad, first thing he does, stand up, just starts clapping. We haven't even done anything. He's just like, "Yeah!"
Wow.
And that's when it all came full circle. You know what I mean? If I had given up, if I had stopped trying, if I stopped going to practice, if I didn't give it my all, then it wouldn't have culminated to that. So, and then from there, it was like, see, you see what happens. And then like instantly once it clicked for me, like I just got hooked.
Yeah.
And then, I reached the apex of what anybody dreams about, being in basketball, a practice player for the women's college San Diego State women's basketball team. But that kind of ties the credit into it, in the sense that, it's okay to know if you're not good at something yet. You have a chance to get better. And also, instead of wanting that credit every time, like, hey, you had a good practice. Hey, you had a good practice. My dad was just like, keep working. And I just always felt like, fuck, why can't he just acknowledge that I at least try hard? He's like, keep working. And like, he would say stuff like, the team looks different when you're in there, versus when you're not on the court. And I'm like, I know, because I'm playing the game. They're better when I'm not there.
Maybe it's just a dad thing, man.
Yeah. So
maybe it's just dad complex.
So it was one of those things where it's just, you want credit. It's nice to feel credit, but hearing the credit, the acknowledgement of the credit is short term. The truth is the long term play. The no expectations is the long term play. Like I have to start training myself to think longer term than just that quick fix. You know what I mean? And I think that's where I was kind of
I just thought about it. What if the response to that are all these fucking bullshit attendance fucking trophies? What if that's the response to, some of these kids aren't feeling like they're appreciated doing what they're doing and all that? So what do we do? Well, how do you fix
perfect
this?
attendance?
No, I'm sorry. Participation trophies.
I think we should get rid of those.
Right?
I don't believe in that.
That's what I'm saying. What if the response to, oh my God, these kids need to feel some type of gratification, right? They need to feel some sense of belonging, even though they're fucking 27th place out of 27 people. And yeah, we're going to give the first place, second place, third place, we're going to give them participation trophies. We're fucking breeding what we're talking about right now.
Softies.
Right? We're breeding fucking softies. And by no means are we softies. All we're talking about is the simple gesture of, hey, good job, right? But in today's nomenclature, a good job is a participation trophy, and we're perpetuating a bad idea right now.
Yeah, I don't think that I should be showered with compliments every day. I don't want that. That's just weird.
That is very fucking weird.
It was the part of me that's just like, I just want somebody to say good work and then be like, okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah,
that's all. Like at work, being in finance and accounting, you don't get credit for anything ever because no one cares. And there was at my last job at an advertising agency, we have monthly meetings. Everyone gets to show off their work and people show that what they can do. Here's the commercials that are coming out. Here's the ads we're running. Oh, look how funny they are. This, that, and the third. The finance and accounting has to manage those books, has to make sure bills get paid, has to make sure we get invoiced, has to make sure contracts are signed. All these things. People work really hard behind the scenes for these commercials to work. Now, there was a distinct difference in the behavior of my coworkers in the department when a presentation ends and they say, oh, we want to thank everybody that was on it. The general bullshit response is, there's too many people to name, so we put everybody on this slide. 85% of the time, nobody from finance is on the slide. Oh. And that makes people think some type of way. Oh, so that time where I needed to stay late because you wanted, a certain actor to be on the commercial, so we had to sign a contract then and there. That wasn't valuable. Versus, even it's just a fucking name on a PowerPoint slide. Yeah. That immediately after the meeting we go up and everyone's like, "Dang, we saw you! Like, yo, you got the credit." Not us, not the coworkers, but people walking by. I see you, and then like you just see that person with a smile on the face the rest of their day. Yeah. That's the type of credit I'm talking about. It's just an acknowledgement. Like I am aware of your contributions to this piece of work. This success is tied to what you've done. Yeah. I'll give you a real life example. And this is, again, in my opinion, above and beyond, but the principle's there. Drew Brees, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, for those who don't know, recently surpassed Peyton Manning for the all-time yards.
Yeah, a little salty about that.
Yeah. What he did was he literally sent a game ball and a letter to every single receiver that he's ever thrown to in his career.
See that?
And he said, the game ball has the achievement of Drew Brees, right? It's a picture of Drew Brees, and it says Drew Brees, all-time NFL passing yards leader. Below it, whoever it sent it to, it says their name, the number of catches, the number of yards, and touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And the letter says, hey, I'm sure you're aware, but I just got the record. Record keeps getting broken year over year. I just took it from Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in the record books and what people talk about, they're going to only mention my name. You had everything to do with it. Your yards count, because without your yards, I don't have this record.
Mm-hmm.
So this game ball is just a token of my, as a gesture of appreciation or token of my appreciation. Thank you for everything. And the guy that actually took the picture and shared it on social media only caught 11 balls for 174 yards. So it's like, it's on a percentage scale, it's less than 1% of his total yards. But he still took the time out to just be like, I acknowledge your presence. You had something to do with this. That's all I ask. The tricky part is if you start asking for too much, or if you start expecting that.
And then at that point, when does it become too much?
Exactly. And then that's the tricky part. And I think for me, I want to start from a place of zero expectations, a place of it's okay if people don't talk about it because I know what the truth is kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Start from there. And I used to be on one side. I want to explore the other side, and I'm sure it'll be somewhere in the middle. But it's just, I think a lot of people these days aren't necessarily talking about these things. They feel that there's a stigma to them, or it makes them feel soft, like a Hufflepuff, or weak. But I don't think so. I think this is everyday life. People go through this shit all the time, and sometimes it sucks, and it's harder to deal than other days.
You know what, Kangsan? I have a solution to that.
Okay.
It's back to our P's and Q's.
Yes.
The simple crossing the T's, dotting the I's. And it's weird because I feel this at work sometimes too. It's the simple please and thank yous, right?
Yeah.
When you simply ask for something, when you ask for something and you're expecting an answer in return, regardless if you receive the answer that you want or not,
Yeah.
it's a simple thank you, right? And so in a corporate setting, we go back and forth with all these questions that you ask people. And it's like, hey, can you get this? Or what do you think about this? Or, hey, I got this, whatever. At the end of it, I've always made it a point. And it's weird because I feel this kinship towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because it's not funny, but it's nice because my coworkers, especially in my small cohort, reciprocate the same thing. We go with each other back and forth for the smallest or biggest things, but it always ends with, hey, thank you, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because at that point in time, a thank you, and I've been sometimes because I think the question that I ask is almost so small that it's just like, okay, okay, cool, and I'll walk away. But I will turn around and say, oh, hey, my bad, by the way, hey, I appreciate it, thank you. So I think at least doing something of that connotation is improving that, on a small scale.
Yeah, for sure.
Small scale.
Yeah, I think, and this is very micro to like sort of the goals that I have. And I think for me, I was looking too far like outside of myself to help improve within when I should start from within. You know what I mean? Often the saying goes like, how are people going to believe you if you don't believe yourself? How are people going to love you if you don't love yourself, kind of thing? Kind of got to start from square one. And it kind of all ties into the biggest thing for me that kind of ties this all together like a giant spider web. In the middle of the spider web, it has like the point that connects everything. Mm-hmm. I'm an only child. I have no siblings. I my family dynamic is unique. I would say there are people I met just this year that I'm closer to now than people in my immediate family, cousins, aunts, uncles, etc. For me, one of the biggest challenges was my relationship with my friends. I don't have, this is a Kanye line, I don't have friends, I have family. I don't consider, like, everything's a step up. If you're an acquaintance for me, I consider you a friend. If you're a friend, I consider you a family. And it's a different dynamic because on average, the majority of people in this world have a family considered brother, sister, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whatever. And there's naturally a higher priority placed on their family than outside. So when friends would say, hey, sorry, I got to cancel because I got to go hang out with my family, or I have something planned with my family. To me, it felt like you canceled on family already. Meaning like I got canceled. It's like same thing as being canceled by my brother. Like my brother's like, sorry, man, not going to work out today. That coupled with me feeling like there's a lot of feeling like a lot of ideas that I would like to do, or whether it's like, what should we do? What should we eat? Just small day-to-day things. It felt like what I voiced was unique in the sense that it was the only other vote that wasn't chosen. So you put those two together, and it makes it made me feel like, damn, am I thinking this the right way? Am I like where's my place? Like I where do I fit? Where's my lane? All these questions. When in reality, it has not much to do with any of that. It just, I'm then again going back to people expecting things to see things from my point of view, and expecting people to acknowledge my idea as a good idea. But a good idea doesn't mean a better idea can't take it over. So that was the like biggest domino that I had to really recognize for me was it's okay if you think it's okay if you're the only one that thinks of an idea and actually likes it, and it's okay if as an only child that everybody else is busy. That's just life in and of itself, and you have to find things to do and find other ways to kind of appreciate life without people sometimes, as an only child. And I'm not saying that doesn't make people sound sad or whatever, but it's just reality. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing I want to be able to work on, because I find myself in that a lot, where I have an idea and I think it in my head, and we're in a group setting and somebody says something and the idea is exactly the opposite of my idea, and everyone goes, that's a great idea. And I automatically think, if the opposite of my idea is a great idea, then that must mean my idea is a bad idea. I have to stop telling myself that. And it's a natural thing where then I go, all right, well, I guess my idea is bad. All right, let's do yours. But I know, like, my heart isn't in it. My energy isn't in it. Right. Versus, oh, that is a good idea. I also have a good idea. Yeah. But it's okay if my idea isn't executed or recognized. I just know in my heart of hearts it would have been fun for me, kind of thing.
Because I don't know if that's a better, because how I approach a certain situation such as like that, where I unlike Kangsan, I'm not as, even when it comes to like my normal life and all that stuff, I'm not as definitive. Although it might seem like it because I'm a badass, obviously, you know what I mean? So there are times where, whether it be in a work setting or in a family setting, family/friend setting, that I'm not as definitive as I should be, or I am definitive because I know I can control the situation. But there are times where I am not as definitive as it should be. And there are times where maybe if the situation calls for it, that my idea would be I don't know, right? Let's just say hypodermically speaking, that is the best idea.
Yeah.
But if everything else is like, oh, okay, we're moving this way, and I'm like, okay, it's almost innate in me because of how and this is how I deal with weird situations. How we all deal with weird situations.
Yeah.
We make it we make it funny.
Yeah.
Right. We bring humor out of it just because we don't like the only weird situations we typically get into is because when we're arguing. But when we argue, it's because we're fucking arguing. But when it comes down to like a situation where it's amicable between multiple people, we don't want to, Kangsan and I, or even like people in our group, we don't want to make it so that it's like, okay, you know what I mean? Well, I don't want to go against the majority and make it weird, but I've already like tailored myself to like, okay, well, if I can't, if what I want to say is not what the majority says, then like I kind of got to roll with the punches, and I automatically flip my switch, and all of a sudden now I'm pro whatever they want. You know what I mean? But it takes time to calibrate that, because as Kangsan was saying, when you're so gung ho about what you're thinking, that this is the most optimal idea, and then all of a sudden something comes along, and for whatever reason, either majority vote or something happens that it doesn't work that way. It's difficult to go from 100 to 0.
Yeah.
And then 0 to 100 on the other way to hop on the train.
Yeah.
You know?
Very, very true. Yeah, I think it also ties into like, I just have to be better at saying no. Sometimes you get FOMO, you don't want to miss out. You don't want to, you always think like, well, what if I am wrong? What if, and because there are those instances in life where you're like, this is not going to work out, and it works out perfectly. And you're like, damn, I'm glad I jumped in when I didn't want to. But I think we highlight those too often and don't really recognize all the other times where you were right. You didn't want to do it and it turned out to be lame.
No.
I think I just have to be better at saying no, from time to time, and just be like, I'm going to sit this one out, maybe next time, kind of thing. It's just hard for me to say no. It's hard for me to express how I disagree unless it's like vehemently disagreeing. If I slightly disagree, I'm more likely to just be like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And I think I just have to be more selective about it. I'm not going to always speak up, but also speak up more than I do now, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a weird balance, and that, again, man, life is full of weird ass contradictions that pull you every which way, and it's a sliding scale, and you just have to figure out, depending on the situation, where you want to draw the line. And the good news and bad news of it is the line is always moving. Yeah. No two scenarios are going to result the same way if you draw the line at the same spot.
And just know that not all puzzles, there are puzzles that fit.
Yeah.
But not all puzzles. But sometimes puzzles that do fit don't fit the right way, but it works out the right way.
And not all Hufflepuffs are nice. Some Hufflepuffs are, bad
some of them
boys.
Are assholes, dog.
Some of them are bad boys.
Hey, not all Slytherins are bad.
Oh, yeah. But they all want to slither in.
To be honest, I would probably, if they put the hat on me,
yeah,
I might be Slytherin.
Okay, yeah.
I'm never Slytherin.
Or Ravenclaw.
Or Ravenclaw. My ideals are steadfast in righteousness, but I'm an asshole, so they'll probably put me in Slytherin.
I don't know what the fourth one is. I took the test yesterday. I already forgot.
Ravenclaw. I'll probably be Ravenclaw. I don't want to be fucking Ravenclaw. Fucking losers, dude.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah.
It was so sad because not only did I get sad that I got Hufflepuff, I was all sad about a thing that I never even witnessed in my life. And I'm like, that's how sad it is. I'm already sad and I haven't even paid attention to any of this. But whenever you listen to this, just understand, people in this world, everyone has a story. Everyone has shit that they're going through. And you may feel hesitant to express yourself to people because you don't want to pile on the shit that they already have. But the benefit to having brotherhood, the benefit to having good friends, the benefit to having family is that those people in your life that you care about the most and care the most about you are willing to take that shit on and willing to help you out, because there's going to be a time where they're going to reach out for help, and it's a zero-sum game. Don't do things with the expectation of being given back something specific. Do things because they're the right thing to do. Do things because that's your truth. Do things because that's how you feel in the heart of hearts is the correct answer. That's something I want to focus on, and it sounds weird saying it, but there's a meaning behind it. Is I'm really focusing on watching the words I speak, or the words I say, the energy I give off, the vibe I give off, and it sounds very hippy dippy, but it's just the belief that every little ripple matters. Every little ripple leads to a wave. And so I want to make sure that every single interaction I have and every emotion I have is of positivity and love. And if you believe in karma or positive thinking in the sense of, I'm just going to sit here and things are going to happen for me, you're just going to be sitting forever.
Dog.
But if you're applying those principles to your life in the sense that this is going to kind of get me to start moving in the right direction, to start practicing and learning skills that I'll need and grow, then by all means jump right in. So it's all about context. Yeah, and this is just something that we wanted to do, or that I wanted to do, and German was courteous enough to jump on, which I appreciate, to just kind of talk about what's been on my mind. We'll see how I feel as I approach 40. I'm pretty sure at that point I'll be like
40.
I'll probably be like, fuck it, whatever.
Hopefully I make it to 40.
Yeah, exactly. With this being said, it's the end of the year, end of 2018. We're gonna have, if you haven't listened to it by now, probably a year-end recap. We'll dive into a few juicy deets. The world is an interesting place.
But you know what? There's only one world.
There is only one world. So live it up, live it in, and live it out.
And live it out.
I don't know what any of that means. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. You can check us out on social media at _GTWTB. Give us a follow, give us a like, a comment, a subscribe on YouTube. Send us what you like and don't like. If you have some tips for me about what we just talked about, or if you want to share your own story, hit up Andrew at gtwtb.com. And yeah, we're gonna keep churning this thing for as long as we can. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Thank you for listening to another episode of Good Times with the Boys. And as German says, until next time.
Bye bye.
I love you.